Hey guys, I'm Nat.
And I'm Ashton.
And we are the Nerds in Flannel.
Well, guys, it happens. It finally happens. We are talking about our experience with probably the most anticipated Marvel movie of this year, but also like...
Of this year? You think it's more anticipated than God of Thunder?
I think after coming off of Loki, Endgame, and No Way Home...
Fair enough.
At least for me, it was more anticipated.
Yes, honey, you were right. I was wrong.
Yeah, well, we are talking about Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yes.
So,
oh my
apologies
goodness.
we didn't get this up right after we watched. I think we both felt first there were some scheduling conflicts, and then we also both felt like we needed time to process everything.
Because I slightly dozed off during the movie.
Wait, actually?
No, I'm kidding.
Dang. It's like, dang. I have records on my Apple Watch of my heart rate spiking at certain points in the movie. I was engaged.
Dude, I gotta get me one of those. And then we gotta watch like...
A horror movie?
Yeah. No, I don't get scared during horror movies. I think you get pretty scared.
I get pretty scared.
Alright, okay, let's talk about the movie action. What you think about the movie? Initial thoughts. Let's go a couple of minutes without any spoilers, and then we'll hit a spoiler warning.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think that this is a very different and new type of Marvel movie.
Yes.
This is their first time dipping their toes into the horror genre. Although I'd probably classify it more as a thriller, because like PG-13 horror is kind of.
I think it would be a thriller. Yeah, I think absolutely right.
Yeah, I think like. I would not show this to like a 9-year-olds at certain parts unless they're like a really resilient 9-year-old. I would, however, recommend this to like teenagers and
grandparents,
people in our age. It's a very artistic movie. If you saw the first one, you know how well like the Doctor Strange movies have to kind of live up to all these different visual effects, and this movie is no exception to that. It's beautiful. It's just a beautiful movie. The color palette that they use is awesome. And yeah, I think like even just the humor and stuff, it's what you would expect from a Marvel movie, but it's also very different from any of the other ones you've seen.
Yeah, going into this, like obviously like I said before, I don't watch any trailers. And so I had no idea what to expect really. All I know, it was directed by Sam Raimi, who obviously directed The Evil Dead and the Spider-Man movies, and I just love his like artistic direction just because I'm a big horror movie guy, so that helps a lot. And I think he's really good with a lot of characters. I know that's gonna sound weird because Spider-Man 3, but I mean, it's not really his fault.
He's really good with a lot of characters that he really understands.
Yes, this is correct. Okay. Ashton, here's a question for you. Who was your favorite character in this film? That's right, I called it a film.
In a film?
Yes.
The rat from Endgame, I swear I saw him.
The rat from Endgame? Yo, he's the real OG.
My favorite Marvel character, just, in general.
Yeah, man.
Honestly, I feel like Wanda had the most development.
Okay.
But I really did love, we just learned how to pronounce her name.
Xochitl Gomez.
Yeah. I really loved her character.
Yeah.
Because, it's new, it's different, it's more like the comics.
America Chavez.
Kind
of a cool name, I'm not going to lie.
It is.
It rolls off the tongue really well.
Yeah, it does.
Better than Doctor Strange, not going to lie.
Or, actually, no, Wong is pretty easy to say.
It's true. This is true.
Wong was really good in this movie. Holy
yeah, crap. I was gonna say. So let's talk about. Let's go with 5 main characters in the movie.
Okay.
And let's talk about them.
Sure.
So let's talk about Benedict Cumberbatch reprising his role as Doctor Strange. I know. Okay, Ashton, I'm gonna talk because I guess I got a hot take.
Okay.
I know he's like one of your favorite actors, if not your favorite actor of all time. And, I see him in these roles like Sherlock and Smog and now Doctor Strange. And he's a great actor. Like, he's been great at Broadway, like, very good dramatic actor. But to look at my notes, I felt like this performance was very one note. I felt like he had more emotion in Endgame and his previous movie, Doctor Strange.
Okay, I actually felt like he had more emotion in No Way Home.
That's true. Yeah, especially during.
So I don't completely disagree with you.
I mean, it's not. I didn't say he's great. He's great in the movie. I said I don't. I'm not saying he phoned it in, but like.
I was worried I'd have to like drive home, grab my lightsaber, come back and smack you.
Yeah, no. I thought his chemistry with Xochitl Gomez and Rachel McAdams was very well done.
Mm-hmm.
He does have good emotional beats, and just the way he he plays a smart guy really well.
Yeah,
and that's what I appreciate about him. So yeah. What are your thoughts on your favorite actor of all time?
Yeah, I felt like, he's definitely in the top 3. I felt like in this movie, I enjoyed his performance, but I think, are we into spoiler territory now?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
Give it a couple more
actually, I guess this isn't really a spoiler because they show it in the trailers.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to stay away from trailers, then don't listen to this part. But there's a couple of different versions of Doctor Strange in this movie. And I really wish that they had used another actor for that as well. Because, he felt very... he felt the same within each character he went to, except for maybe one of them.
Yes.
And, yeah, I don't know. It was very interesting, but I would have liked him to kind of just focus in on his 616 Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I think that would have been good.
And just kind of keep it at that. Focus his energy on that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, no, he did. Honestly, he did a really good job. I just think it was kind of just cruise. I don't want to say cruising. He just did it, and he did a very good job. He just did it, right? So,
yeah.
Yeah. Hats off to Mr. Cumberbatch.
Yes, sir.
So Ashton, Elizabeth Olsen as Wanda Maximoff or the Scarlet Witch.
Mommy
what
Maximoff?
did you think?
I'm sorry, mommy. Sorry, mommy. Sorry, mommy.
God.
Dude, there was this TikTok of her at the premiere of her saying that she's confused as to why people call her mommy, but she appreciates it and she loves it.
I respect that.
I respect that. That's big mommy energy.
That's just accepting your fate type of thing. She's like, this is my life now. This is what I get for being in a comic book movie.
Yeah. Dude, the performance was excellent. Holy crap. Yeah. If you have not seen WandaVision, if you've been putting it off, this is...
Come on, man.
Go see it. Before you watch this movie, you need to see it. Because,
It helps a lot with the character development. I also think she was probably the standout performance in this
I agree.
movie.
I think this was probably, her best performance as Scarlet Witch.
You could have called this, Doctor Strange and the Scarlet Witch, and I would have loved it even more.
Yeah.
But they're not going to do that.
Yeah, they weren't.
Or, Strange versus Scarlet. Dawn of Justice.
Give Zack Snyder the executive producer credit.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she was probably my favorite performance in this movie, I think.
Yeah, she was great.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to say was she had great chemistry with the two kids. I don't remember the names of the kids.
Oh yeah, Billy and Tommy. They're the characters that they play.
Yeah, I think that one scene when they're singing that song because they want ice cream.
Shit, I think that's a spoiler.
Okay, screw it. We're gonna spoilers now.
Yeah, we're into spoilers.
We're into spoilers now. Sorry, guys. We held up for so long. It's hard to talk about this movie.
It's not a big spoiler.
No, it's not. It's just hard to talk about this movie without talking about spoilers.
Agreed.
Because there's a lot of spoiler that's integral to the plot. So yeah, when her boys sang they want more ice cream song to her, I feel like the emotions in her face hit more than any of the words she said in the entire movie.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, and she's a great actress, man. She's
Honestly,
been in many Academy Award-winning movies. Did you see Wind River by any chance?
No, I didn't.
With Jeremy Renner? That's a hard movie to watch, but
I heard it was really good.
it's probably one of the best movies of the year when it came out, but it's just really hard to watch. It's Google it or don't.
Cool.
Anything else, Ashton? Elizabeth Olsen.
Yeah, no, I think if you're a big Scarlet Witch fan, even like Scarlet Witch from the comics, this is
Love her costume too.
yeah, it's great. Actually, I guess if we're into spoiler territory, this movie is pretty much the MCU's version of what happens kind of after House of M, or kind of during House of M.
Yeah.
Where she goes insane because she's told, and she goes completely insane because she's told that her kids don't really exist. Whereas like in this movie, she's told she can't, like she's not the mom of the kids in the multiverse that she's trying to get to. And she just goes ballistic. Like it is insane.
Yeah.
She's definitely like, she's the bad guy in this movie, which if you're a comic fan, I mean, I would argue she's the bad guy at least.
Yeah, no, she is definitely the bad guy, and in the comics, she does some pretty messed up stuff.
Yeah, she's both a hero and a villain in the comics, and she's such a gray area character.
Yeah.
In this movie especially, and again, we're into spoiler territory, but holy crap.
Yeah, that one. I want to talk about that scene.
We'll talk about that more in depth.
Yeah.
But if you've seen the movie, you know what we're talking about here.
One line that she said to that one character about its person's kids.
Oh,
yeah.
I've never been more scared, but also more in love at the same time.
Yeah. Dang,
holy crap.
Tough, bro.
I didn't know that was possible.
Yeah.
I was ready to be submissive.
Oh my goodness. All right. Anyway, so
if she broke through the screen, I would just like fall flat and probably pass out.
Okay, Elizabeth, if you're listening, come on the pod.
Come on the
I want
pod.
to see Ashton do that. Just pass out.
Well, I'm talking about Scarlet Witch in that scene.
Oh.
Specifically. I mean, in general, like, I don't really get about that with celebrities.
Neither do I. I find it weird.
I find it very
like people
weird.
passing out at like BTS concerts and like Harry Styles concert.
That's just why.
Anyways.
Cool.
So
Benedict
Wong as Wong.
Yeah.
I don't have much to say. He's just a really good. Like he's really funny. He's probably one of the best sidekicks in the MCU. Like other than like, let's see, Ned.
That's
it's
fair.
the Asian guys.
The Asian guys. Dude, I love how he's just like, he's the side character, but he's also 100% like the Sorcerer Supreme.
Exactly.
Like I was a little scared that this movie was going to kill him off just so that they could make Doctor Strange the Sorcerer Supreme again. And I'm so happy they didn't. Mm-hmm. There were times when I was like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. But he's just like, he's a really cool character in his own right. Yeah. And it's so funny seeing Doctor Strange, you know, he's like the Avenger of the group. He's like just this sorcerer who used to be the Sorcerer Supreme. And now he has to like suck it up to like his best friends. And it's just a really great chemistry.
Yeah. It's really good. No, like, Doctor Strange would not be where he is without Wong.
Oh, 100%.
It's true. That's why I'm saying he's, like, one of the best sidekicks. It's the same with Ned, because obviously Peter wouldn't be there. Yeah.
Wong. Just Wong? Like Beyonce?
Yeah. Like Cher and Beyonce?
I love it.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about the new addition to the franchise. Xochitl Gomez as America Chavez. Mind blank for a second. First of all, I think she had great energy. Like she being the young person in the cast, I feel like she brought a lot of like joy and happiness to the role. Even though the role is kind of like she's definitely a plot device, but she's like a good plot device if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because she's like hot take. She is the Jar Jar Binks of this movie.
Interesting.
Because, the plot in Phantom Menace would not happen without Jar Jar Binks.
You know what? That's fair. She's not as obnoxious, though.
But no. I feel she did a really good job. America Chavez is a very complex character that I'm surprised they brought into the MCU just because, with all LGBTQ stuff and how her parents are lesbians. And it's very nice that they did it in such a tasteful way because I feel like TV shows these days and movies are just getting like very focused on that. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I feel like for a movie like this, it's really hard to do it tastefully, and they did. And I'm very glad they did it that way.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's actually one of my biggest complaints with How I Met Your Father. It's just like when you make something that people are still adjusting to, so in your face, it's gonna make people upset.
Yeah.
And I think the best way, it's with anything, right? And the best way to get people comfortable with an idea, or at least like to start showing it more in like movies and stuff, is to not bring a lot of attention to it. Just treat it like it's, you know, a thing.
Absolutely.
It happened. It's here to stay. That's the sort of thing, right?
Yeah. Okay. One more character I want to talk about before we get into a very, very interesting scene that we have to talk about is Rachel McAdams.
What?
As what's her face? Christine Palmer. Christine. Okay, I don't know. Were you referencing something, or were you just saying her name?
I was referencing What If.
Okay, I was referencing Be More Chill. Never mind.
Oh,
Wow, we were in two very different
Two
things.
very different.
Anyways,
yeah.
Christine. Any thoughts, Ashton? Rachel McAdams.
If I'm being completely honest, I didn't really expect to see her back in this movie, because her character arc in Doctor Strange felt like it felt like a Jane Foster situation.
Okay.
Where she could have easily like been there, did her thing, and then have been like just forgotten, because she really was not that impactful of a character. All she really did in that movie was she was the love interest, and she fixed Doctor Strange up, and that's really about it.
Cool. Thanks.
And then in this movie, though, she does a lot more. Like, she gets married to another dude. That kind of sets Doctor Strange's, you know, like, everything that's going on in his head.
Right.
And then, you know, her variant is just a very complex version of Christine.
Yes.
And it's like, whoa, like, where do you come from? This is awesome. Can we have more?
Yeah, I think my big problem with the first movie was they just made her a love interest without giving her any character depth. But in this movie, now that we meet her in a very, let's say, she has a lot more experience with the multiverse type of thing, and I think that works really well for her character because, you know, she's smart. She's a doctor, and I feel like they just left that part out in the first movie. But like, Rachel McAdams is a very good actress, and I made a mistake by not putting her in my top 3 actresses. I totally regret doing that because she's great, but she really shines in this movie, I believe, just because of the way she's written in this movie and not in the first one.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It's remarkable. They actually even like kind of hinted at some of that in this movie. Shut up, Siri. They kind of made her, like, in this movie, she kind of says to Doctor Strange a couple of times, like, oh, you always have to be the person holding the knife. Mm-hmm. Like, even in the first movie, he has a really big ego. He's just kind of, you like him, but you don't like him. You don't really like him until he starts developing more.
Right.
But then even then, you're just like, is this really it? Like, which is great because it means the character has a bigger journey to go on. But, you know, considering that first movie came out in friggin' 2016.
I feel old.
And Spider-Man completed his whole MCU trilogy within the time that the first Doctor Strange released and the second. It's been a while since we've gotten any, you know, development in the ego side of Doctor Strange. So it's interesting. I like the dynamic. Even, I think, What If really shows a lot of that as well. Like,
yes.
It really shows how he always wants to be the person in control. That's what leads Strange Supreme into doing all the crap he did, because he just needs to be in control of kind of what happens with her. He's not willing to say no to losing her.
Yes.
And it's, yeah, honestly, I think this movie addressed that really well, and it really actually helped Strange develop, especially with that last character they introduced. But we can talk on that later.
The last character? Yes. You mean in the end credit scene?
Yes.
Yes. We will talk about that after the break. Let's take a break.
Let's take a break.
'Cause I have to go pee.
All right. Well, we will be right back.
All right. Hey guys, welcome back.
Hello.
Yes, welcome back. Let's just hop into it. So during the break, I talked to Ashton about what I want to talk about, and I really want to talk about the beginning of the film. And now, yes, official spoiler. I know we said spoilers already, but I really want to talk about one thing in the beginning of the movie. So one good filmmaking tip is when you're writing a script is giving your character motivation. And this kind of like affects why the character makes decisions later in the film. And it's set up perfectly in this movie where Doctor Strange is at Christine Palmer's wedding, getting married to this guy we don't really care about because I think they say his name. I do not remember.
Apparently, he's a really big Doctor Strange fan, so there's that.
Cool. Awesome. Sweet. And he sees her in that wedding dress walking down the aisle. And you know for a fact that he's like, I missed my shot because I was whipped for 5 years. And he knows he messed up. And after the wedding, there's a big like attack scene. And she's kind of like, oh, why does he have to do this? But even though it's not his fault, kind of like a petty thing. But that also sets up her motivation. Kind of like, that's why Ashton was talking about, you always have to be the one holding the knife. And I think the way they set that up in the first like 10 minutes of the film is done so perfectly. And that's, I just want to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, he, like, Wanda, Scarlet Witch, keeps on threatening him with like, if you let me like have this, you can have Christine, right? And she uses that to manipulate him, and that's just a driving force in the film. And I think that eventually they will get together in some type of multiverse, but I'm not sure. Yeah, I just want to point that out.
And I also think this kind of comes full circle too, at kind of I would say it's the climax of the film where Doctor Strange has to make that decision to use the Darkhold to save American Chavez. And the Christine Palmer that he's with, the one who had, like, they killed their Strange because he meddled with that crap.
Yeah.
She's just like, wow, you guys are all the same after, like 10 minutes before saying, or probably like 15 or 20 minutes before being like, oh, you're different. You're like a different kind of Strange. And he's just like, yes, we're all the same. Like, we suck, we're egotistical, whatever. Egotistical. But he ended up...
Good one, bro.
he ended up, just kind of coming to this point where he's doing this. He's not thinking about himself anymore. He's not thinking about himself having to be in control. And he's just thinking, like, this is really the only way we can do this. I'm willing to put myself on the line for this. And I know, like, it's hypocritical to what I said before, but the motivation is different. The heart is different. So we're just going to, like, go for it, and we're gonna save her. It wasn't done in his self-interest, pretty much.
Yes. I feel like, that's a very important thing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Same with Iron Man.
Yeah.
Because, I can't remember the line verbatim, but it's like I was never, when he talks to his dad in Endgame, I was never able to put the needs of others ahead of myself, something like that. If you guys know what I'm talking about. And that's just a really big theme, especially as a superhero. I feel like that's a very fine line, and I think it's done very well in this movie.
Oh, 100%.
All right, let's talk about, what do you want to talk about?
Ooh, I have some notes.
Oh, dude, yes, we both have notes.
We both have notes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to talk about...
I got something here.
Okay, yes.
So I found the whole concept of, like, the dreams being something that happens to, like, another version of yourself in the multiverse. Very interesting.
Yes.
Because this past week, I've had 3 dreams where I was dating Haley Steinfeld. And I just want to shout out that version of you. You're doing good, bro. You're the best one of us. Keep going, sir.
This man just really exposed himself on the pod.
This is a vulnerable moment.
Oh my gosh.
Thank
Thank you for sharing.
Just want to give that other Ashton
This is a
shout
safe place.
But
even though this is going on YouTube and Spotify. Continue.
Haley, if you're out there, I don't know. I'm too awkward.
I loved you in Pitch Perfect.
Okay.
She was in Pitch Perfect.
Fair. It's only a 3-year age difference between the two of us. So like,
Well, okay, good for you.
yeah, you know,
No.
and yeah.
Anyways,
So something I found interesting about this movie was this movie is part of the MCU setup for their next big event. Now, it took them 10 years to set up the like Infinity Saga, where you know they have like the whole like Infinity War with Thanos, and that's kind of one of the biggest Marvel events. But I would say the biggest Marvel event in the comics is probably the one they're building up to now, because they did it 2 times. It's called Secret Wars.
love Secret Wars.
And they did the original Secret Wars happened in the 1980s, and out of that came like just a lot of super interesting reinvented comics. And then the newer one happened in 2015. And this is kind of Marvel's way of, because Marvel doesn't just stick to one comic universe. Like there are multiple different type of comics for Spider-Man going out at the same time. And the way that they kind of categorize them is, oh, this is like happening in a different multiverse, a different universe. This is like the 616. This is like the 838 or whatever. And it's super interesting. And if people really like a certain version of Spider-Man, they tend to kind of bring those 2 Spider-Man together in some kind of event, in a multiversal event. And this happened a lot more recently with Miles Morales. He became the ultimate Spider-Man in the Ultimate Universe in the comics. And people loved him so much that they decided to bring him into the mainline Marvel story. But instead of rewriting him into that, and you know his character motivation is Peter Parker died in his universe, so he has to kind of take up the mantle. They didn't want to kill off the mainline Peter Parker. So they had this incursion event where the 2 multiverses kind of just combined together. And out of that, you know, we have the 2 Spider-Man fighting side by side or whatever.
It's a multiverse war.
Exactly.
Which
And
I think is really cool.
I really think that they're setting this up to bring in the Fox universe.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
potentially the Sony universe. Potentially.
Okay, yes, I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
But I think the question a lot of people are having is, how long is it going to take them to set this up? Or how long do they need to take to set this up?
Yeah, so that's interesting because recently Kevin Feige stated that he and a bunch of writers went on a retreat to talk about what the next 10 years of Marvel are going to look like. 10 years is kind of insane.
We're going to be like, what, 30, we're going to be 30-ish.
Yeah. Hot take. I think within 10 years, these movies aren't going to be doing as well anymore. Because I know there's already a lot of people having sci-fi fatigue. That's just a hot
Absolutely. No. It's true. Like, people seriously talk about Marvel fatigue.
Yeah.
It's an actual, like, thing in, like, the dictionary. No, I'm kidding. No, it's not. But, like, people are throwing it around a lot because it's true. Like, I've had Marvel fatigue quite often, especially in the last, like, 5 years. I think... So it took, so it was 2008 to 2018 is when...
Well, technically
Endgame
2019, so like 11 years, but...
I say give it 5 or more.
Yeah.
I don't think you should set it up in the next 4 years. I think 5 you can get... So if they go by what they're going right now, I think you have 5 movies times 3, 15 movies.
That's
5 years.
fair.
If they're going off like the 3 movie a year type of thing.
Now, I actually have a solution for this Marvel fatigue, because I think a big reason why people are feeling it is because, especially for newcomers, if you want to know what's happening in the current movie, if you want to be that cool person in the group, you have to go back and watch 27 other movies, like as of now. There's like 28, including Multiverse of Madness.
Hey, that's just like watching all 3 Lord of the Rings movies.
Dang. Yeah.
Get
also,
wrecked.
Get wrecked. Wow. Always taking shots. Also, the TV shows.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people, and this movie is actually the first one to really kind of bring in the events of the TV shows. Like, you need to see the TV shows, which means you need to pay for Disney Plus to understand this movie.
That's how they get you.
That's how they get you. And it's like,
I'm a
the
sucker.
TV show is a lot longer. Like, the whole season is a lot longer. And technically, if you include Loki, because that's kind of, I would argue that's pretty important.
You would need to put Loki in.
You'd have to put Loki in.
Yeah.
So you're watching like easily 18 hours for a 3 hour, or for 2 and
2-hour,
movie.
20-minute movie or whatever.
It's crazy.
So I think one way they could get around this is they stop making MCU movies and they create another universe where they're kind of starting from fresh and they build up in that one. And then the incursion happens in 5 years. And then the incursion will carry over their new universe over to the MCU.
Interesting.
And that might give people a little bit of a break from the mainline MCU stuff and time to catch up.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, they already have a lot of people falling out of the MCU. You really think like starting a new one's gonna like revive that?
I think it would give them. So like, I think they could do something based off of more obscure characters.
Okay.
And
Squirrel Girl.
Squirrel Girl, let's go. And something where you don't have to see any of the other stuff to understand it.
Okay.
And I think like if you could get people started on a new franchise, and then in like a couple years or so, combine those franchises and kind of like allude that it's building up to it, but just let people enjoy it for what it is. And then merge it over into what you already have, you're going to reinvigorate interest because you're taking over all those new fans and all those people that kind of gave up on the MCU because of Marvel fatigue.
Yeah, absolutely.
From this. And they don't even have to necessarily advertise it as like an MCU thing. It could be another subcategory of Disney. Like if they did like a Big Hero 6 thing, because Big Hero 6 is Marvel, but then they could just like make it, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Build that up. And then merge it in with the MCU later when people aren't quite as fatigued. And then it kind of gives everyone a bit of a break. It gives people time to catch up on what's happening. You don't have to watch hundreds of hours of movies to understand, what's going on. And like, I don't mind watching these. I still enjoy them. And I think that's because like we're special as nerds. But
just a little bit.
Just a little bit. I have felt fatigued with some stuff in the past. I'm gonna be real honest. I'm going through a lot of Star Wars fatigue right now. I'm still super hyped for Kenobi though.
I think after Kenobi, that's gonna be a nail in the coffin for me.
Yeah, probably. Something else that I would find very interesting if they did with this Secret Wars event is if they were to merge the Sony universe, I totally think they could bring in Miles Morales.
Yes.
I would love, this is something I've written down. I would love for them, like another Sam Raimi Spider-Man 4 with Tobey Maguire. But in this movie, they kill off Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. And then that kind of that's the Peter Parker for Miles.
That would be so good.
Because it gives us closure for Tobey, who's an old actor. People love him. He's the perfect Spider-Man to do that, I think. Because he's already established. People know who like Spider-Man in his universe as a hero. And also like the MCU Spider-Man knows him as well, right?
Yeah.
So then there would be a little bit of an emotional impact there too, because he just lost one of his brothers whenever like the incursion happens and Miles Morales can come into the MCU. I think that would be perfect because I don't really think you can do a proper Miles story without killing off Peter Parker. And I don't think the MCU and a lot of the MCU fans are ready for Tom Holland to stop yet.
I am not, no. I want at least 4 more movies from him.
Yeah.
Well, no, okay. Maybe like 2 more solo ones and then like just be in things.
I would be okay with another trilogy.
Oh, really?
And
6
maybe-
Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hot take.
That's fine. I'm not hot take. Spider-Man's my favorite superhero, so
Same. I think he does a really good job with it.
I think so.
But yeah, I wouldn't want that with Andrews because he still has a ways to go. But I think that'd be an interesting thing for Miles. I'm talking a lot about this incursion thing. This is a lot of speculation about what I want to happen, but this is no way like a spoiler for anything because I have no clues. This is just kind of like a wish list.
This is what
this
we
is
want.
a predictions based off of literally nothing. So, yeah.
All right. Question for you.
Okay.
Question. I want to talk about a scene in the movie where actually no, scrap. I want to talk about the Illuminati scene.
Oh.
I want
let's
to talk
dive into
about.
this.
If you don't know what the Illuminati is, no one does. I'm just kidding. I do. No, the Illuminati is a band. Well, no, not like a band, but I'd say a band of people who protect the multiverse. It's pretty much what it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty easy. Multiverse police. And I didn't watch any trailers, but I mean, apparently Illuminati was in the trailer, correct? And one of them?
So I think that was actually a TV spot.
Oh,
because
TV spot.
I watched the second trailer, then I avoided the TV spots. And
This is why I hate trailers.
I had one of the TV spots spoiled for me, literally 2 days before seeing the movie.
Dang,
and it said Illuminati, and it showed Captain Carter's shield, which I mean I already saw from the poster, but I was so a little upset.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about that, Ashton. Who's in the Illuminati? Give me the characters' names, and then let's talk about the actors after.
Okay. So in this version, in Earth 8, is it 838?
Let's say it is
Something like that.
Yeah.
In this Earth, the Illuminati consists of Captain Carter, Black Bolt, Captain Marvel, but the other Captain Marvel. So what's her face? She's the character in Captain Marvel who's the friends.
Oh no, Rambeau is.
Yeah, Rambo's the last name. It's not Monica because that's her daughter.
I can't remember.
But yeah, it's Monica's mom. She ends up being the one who becomes Captain Marvel in this universe, and that actually in the comics too. Super interesting. Probably the only time we're really gonna see her in that, unless another a Secret Wars thing happens.
Yeah.
She's brought into from a different dimension. So she's the Captain Marvel, and then there's also Black Bolt, Mr. Fantastic.
Ooh, yes.
And I was about to say the actor.
That's okay.
And Professor X, which actor Sir Patrick Stewart.
Okay, so for me, not seeing the trailer, when Baron Mordo, he's in this
Baron
movie
Mordo.
by the way, when he said the Illuminati, I about lost my mind because I feel like bringing in the Illuminati is the equivalent of bringing in the Watchers for me at least.
I think that was it was either your prediction or my prediction, but one of us predicted that the Illuminati would
It was
be in this
you.
movie.
I'm pretty sure it was you.
Yeah, I think it was me.
No way it was me. I gave you all the credit there, Ashton.
Dope. I'll take it.
Yeah, so I lost my mind. I lost it.
Dude, the look on your face was like, you just looked like someone revealed to you a deep secret of the past, and you just were flipping out or something.
Yeah. Also, hey, shout out to everyone in our theater.
Yo, our theater.
When he said that,
I felt the hype, and a lot of our theater was kids on their Pro D Day, and families taking their kids.
Yeah, dude. Okay, so tell us when the hypest theater experiences I had in my life. But Endgame never. I don't think anything's gonna top my Endgame experience. People are standing up and cheering. Anyways, so Doctor Strange is summoned to this room with five chairs, and people are introduced. Let's talk about it, Ashton. So the first person we see is Captain Marvel.
Well, besides friggin' Baron Mordo.
Yes, Baron Mordo. Yes.
He's the Sorcerer Supreme in this universe.
Yes. So Captain Marvel is played by Lashana Lynch. Was she in the original Captain Marvel?
Yeah, she was.
Okay, perfect.
That's the actual actor.
Okay, perfect, awesome. Yes. I think she was great. Actually, no, I'm not gonna say anything else. Okay, let's just list out the characters. Cool. Sorry. And then next one was Captain Carter, reprised by the one and only Haley Atwell.
Lost.
Yeah, I think they'll do. Anyways, no, it's great. She is amazing as this character because she's had years. Was it since 2011? Right.
2011 was her first time in the MCU and in the first Avenger.
Yes. So that would be nice.
And her last live action appearance was Endgame.
Cool. Yeah. Very short.
Very short.
Yeah. And then the one that I really, really didn't care about was Black Bolt from the Inhumans, played by Anson Mount. I mean, the Human show was not great. You haven't seen it, have you?
I haven't seen it.
Okay, it's not great.
I will say I've heard a lot of crap about that show. I probably agree with it, but in the comics, Black Bolt is a lot better.
He's kind of dope in the comics.
He's kind of dope.
Yeah.
I still think Vin Diesel should have played him.
And I think so. Kind of out of order here. Professor X, played by
Sir Patrick Stewart.
Yes. I love Patrick Stewart, man.
Same, bro.
I'm a Trekkie too, so it kind of helps. I love it.
I just love everything he's done in American Dad.
This is true. This is true. And the reveal that got our theater probably the hypest was Mr. Fantastic, Reed Richards, played by who, Ashton? Who played him?
John Krasinski.
John Krasinski. If you don't know, he's from The
Lost.
Office as Jim Halpert and Jack Ryan in the new Jack Ryan TV show. Now, with this all-star cast, how long do you think they lasted in the movie?
Yeah, not well.
So Wanda Scarlet Witch comes into like the Illuminati building research facility, and the Illuminati try to stop her, but she does not get stopped. So she's killing all the security robots and everything. Would they be Sentinels? Like
They're
discount
like
Sentinels?
Ultron Sentinels.
Ultron Sentinels.
It's actually, just a quick note, it's really cool that this universe showed that Ultron worked because it was made by Mr. Fantastic. Because
Yes.
in the comics, he is the smartest. And it really...
Step aside,
showed-
Tony.
Exactly. It really showed that if he did it, he even tops Tony Stark and Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
And sure, your hot take.
No. I think he's the smartest. Reed Richards would be the smartest guy in Marvel. Well, okay, human. Smartest human. Smartest human. We should just clarify. Not smartest person in all of the Marvel comics, but smartest human.
Agreed.
Oh, so someone we're missing. I don't think we're missing anyone.
I don't think so. I mean, Amadeus Cho is pretty smart in some parts, but...
Yeah, but like Reed Richards smart.
Not Reed Richards
Yeah.
smart.
Anyways, yeah, so she destroys all the robots, and the Illuminati tries to come stop her, and she says this one really cool line. So,
I got chills.
Mr.
bro.
Fantastic is like, Wanda, stop. I know I have kids too. And then she's like, well, is your mother still alive? And he's like, yeah. And then she's like, good. There will be someone to raise them when you die, or something like that. And I turned to Ashton and I'm like, this is not going to end well. And she pretty much kills them all.
Yeah, in
a very brutal way.
Oh my gosh.
There's actually blood and people getting incinerated, getting their head exploded.
I did not expect this from the MCU. I expected this from Fox or
Because
Sony
big cojones.
or friggin' DC, but I did not expect this from the MCU. It is like
It's gory.
It's gory.
Sam Raimi
I would say it's
style.
not quite up to the level of The Boys, but it's like The
Nothing
Boys in
will
a
be
weak
that level.
scene level.
Nothing would be that level.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, like,
Dude, when Black Bolt went first, because like after that whole line, Mr. Fantastic's like, Black Bolt can take you out with just like a whisper, and Wanda's, or with his mouth or something, and Wanda's like, what mouth? And then it pans to him and it shows his mouth missing as like some kind of Matrix scene. That's actually ripped from the comics. She takes away, I think it's Magneto's mouth in House of M briefly
so. I think
to get him
you're
to
right.
stop talking and arguing with her brother. But it is insane. And then he talks, but his mouth is inverted, so he ends up blowing up his own brain.
it's pretty bloody.
And it's like, yo, arguably the most powerful person on this team went out like a chump.
Yeah, like Control Alt Delete.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, well, everyone else is screwed now.
And then Reed Richards gets freaking it's like a paper shredder.
Paper shredder, or like if you've ever tried to like undo like a Twizzler,
Yes,
that's what it felt like.
That's exactly what it
Like
is.
a blue raspberry Twizzler.
Yeah, he
and he-
dies pretty gruesomely.
Yeah, very gruesome, very gory.
Then,
I was really sad.
Yeah,
I was excited to see John Krasinski in that role.
so did I.
Yeah.
And then Captain Marvel gets a statue dropped on her and crushed to death.
Yeah.
Probably the least memorable death of the five. We'll get
I would
into
say
number
so.
4. Number 4, Ashton, what happens to Captain Carter?
Bro, she puts up such a good fight. She's using like the friggin' jetpack, and like I think that's a bit of a nod to What If. This is not, and we should preface, this is not the same Captain Carter from What If.
No.
This is a different version of Captain Carter, and she just like she's putting up this fight, and then Wanda throws her shield at her, and it slices her in half, and then you see like her bloody shield
In a wall.
in a wall.
And my mouth dropped.
Yeah,
And
my mouth
Ash's
dropped too. I could not close my mouth for a while. I wasn't sure if the dude sitting beside me, not now, but like the other dude had like COVID or something. I physically could not close my mouth to save myself if that was the case, which, he didn't. I was just like, yo, what is going on here?
They
like,
went there.
They went there? What?
I love it.
I love it.
No,
so good. And
then Professor X, he died in a very interesting way. So like,
I was actually really happy with how they went.
this was my
about
favorite
things.
death. This was my favorite
Yeah.
death. So he goes into, like he can like access people's brains because he has telepathy.
Yeah, something like
Sure,
that.
yeah, let's say he goes into people. He goes
Telepathy
into
on
Wanda's.
steroids.
Yes, he goes into Wanda's brain and he like tries to pull because Wanda's taken over like. Okay, well, we need to talk about it a little bit. Actually, no. Here's a little backstory. So Wanda has the book?
She had the Darkhold.
The Darkhold, and she uses this book to it's called
Dream
walking into a different Wanda's body, which is in the universe that they are in, and so he tries to pull out the good Wanda and save her, so like her mind can reset, and then she's no longer dream walking.
Which is such a Professor X thing to do, right?
Yeah, but then like in her mind, she like kills Professor X, right? Yeah,
Yes.
just stabs him. Just stabs him.
No, she
Snaps his neck.
snaps his neck in
Right.
such a brutal way. It was like low key part of like the whole horror movie thing,
Mm-hmm.
because there's this like it was a beautifully shot scene
It was
where
very
it's
wonderful.
all white, and then you have this scene, and I'm gonna refer to like the Wanda that's being dreamwalked as just Wanda, and like the other one is Scarlet Witch.
Yeah.
You have Wanda buried underneath some rubble, and Professor X is like, hey, if I pull you out, then maybe that means you can take control of her again, or can take control of your body again.
Yes.
And he's trying. It's impossible. And you're like, yo, is he actually going to do it? Because if you know Professor X's powers, he's like just
He
this,
can do it.
he's a Chad, right? And he went in and just stopped the fight in an instant, took this whole thing into like the mind plane or whatever it's called, did this whole thing. And then you see this like red cloud come in over this white like plane, and you're just like, yo, what's going on? Beautifully shot scene.
I love it.
And then you see them kind of get encompassed by this red cloud, and he's kind of like looking over scared everywhere. And then all of a sudden, just like out of nowhere, you see Scarlet Witch's hands come out with like, the blackness of like, what the Darkhold does to her fingertips, which is a really weird thing, as a side note. And it just like snaps his neck in like such a swift instant. And you're just like, what? Like she took Professor X out like that?
Rip.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to say I saw it coming, but I didn't. I really didn't see that coming.
I did not see him going out like that.
I thought they were gonna she was gonna incapacitate them all.
Yeah.
Like, knock them out. But no, she just straight up killed all of them.
Yeah. You know what? And I'm actually kind of happy. As sad as it was about John Krasinski and Professor X, one of the other things I had written down was, and this might be a bit of a hot take, I am happy that all these major cameos got killed off, because I think it would have taken away too much from the movie. And one of the things I loved about this movie was it felt like such a Doctor Strange / Wanda movie. It didn't really
And it was
focus on
very good.
anything else outside of that. And anything that, like, it usually with these movies, if there's a major cameo, that's what you remember from the movie. But in this, it's just like the cameos are used to kind of push the plot forward, rather than, introduce this like new character that you can use for like merchandising or
Yes.
whatever.
She needed to kill the Illuminati to show how powerful she was.
Exactly.
Because she's probably the most powerful MCU character.
That's what Kevin Feige said. He said it's
Yeah.
Wanda, and then Doctor Strange, and then probably Captain Marvel or Thor. He hasn't really cleared up. He has. I don't think he's actually given a third.
I think
but I'm
it's
just
Thor.
assuming.
I think
I would say
Thor.
it's Thor as well, especially if you've seen What If.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the ending.
Okay.
Let's talk about the ending. Why don't you start us off? Tell the folks how this movie ends.
So this movie ends. I touched on it a little bit before, but are we going from like the? Yeah, I'll just go.
Let's go from when.
After the battle, or during, or like before, just before the end battle.
Before. We'll just go from the beginning.
Okay, so the end battle is super interesting because Wanda seems to be winning. She has America Chavez kidnapped, and she's trying to drain her power. She has her on this like altar sort of thing. It looks super scary.
Yeah.
And Doctor Strange is like, oh shoot, and they go to this this other dimension that is like, you know, this dimension was the victim of frick, I lost the word for it. Incursion. It was
Yes.
the victim of an incursion. I honestly thought at first that this was the dimension that Strange Supreme was trapped in What If, but that's not the case. And what happens is he goes to find that world's Doctor Strange, and he's the one with the Darkholds. Super scary looking. Really dope, though. They have this super epic battle scene. He's just like, I'll give you the Darkhold if you give me Christine. And, he, like 616, Doctor Strange is like, huh, nope. And they have this fight, which I thought was really cool. It was like this music notes thing. They really, it was a point where the music really kind of pushed this fight forward.
And Beethoven's Fifth Symphony in it. Like,
Yeah.
It was really cool.
It was so cool.
I lost my mind.
They're literally fighting with music notes. I was like, this is like a visual spectacle. This feels so much like Doctor Strange from
As
the
a
comics.
music major, I lost my mind.
Yeah, he lost more than just his mind. Kind of set yourself one up for that, buddy.
I did. I'm sorry. Sorry, Dad.
Yeah, so I think it was just a really well done fight scene. And after all this, Doctor Strange gets a hold of the Darkhold, and you're just like, well, what? And actually, even Christine asked this question where it's like, if you're going to dream walk to go and save America Chavez, doesn't there already need to be a Doctor Strange in that universe? And, obviously he's the one from that universe, so, like, who's he going to do that with? And he's like, well, no one said they had to be alive. And then you remember, at the beginning of the movie, they buried Defender Strange, who was with America Chavez, as she hopped into this 616 dimension. And it was so cool. Like, the whole, like, zombie thing where he's already, like, decomposed, but, you see him, like, coming alive, sticking his hand out of the grave, super limp, like you would in any kind of zombie show or game or whatever. Comes out, kicks butt, and there's, like, this whole other scene where, like, what are they, like, these demon things, or I forget the official name.
Yeah, I don't remember the name either. They're like,
sleep demons or something.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, you can't do that. You can't, like, bring back someone who's dead. And Doctor Strange does the coolest thing where instead of succumbing to them, he overcomes them and uses them as his cape.
Yeah, it's the coolest thing.
It was the coolest thing. And then they do this whole fight thing. You're like, dude, like, Strange has already had his butt kicked multiple times. What's he going to do, especially in a body that's already dead? And, like, of course, like, Wanda can do a lot more to that body and he can still maintain control of it. But, like, at some point, the body's got to break down,
Yes.
And, Wong is there too doing his thing, and it's just super cool. And then Wong is like, Strange, you have to drain her powers. It's the only way. And it echoes what happened in the beginning of the movie where America Chavez is betrayed by the Strange, like the Strange that's dead. And he's trying to drain her powers. It echoes that. And instead, the Strange is like, no, I'm not going to do that. You have, like, the power already. Like, everything that's happened to this point has just been because of, like, the power that you've had. And after this, like, she just goes all out and she transports Wanda to the dimension where, like, back to the other dimension she transports the Scarlet Witch. I'm going to refer to her as that again. Back to the other dimension where
Wanda is with her kids and showcases to the kids that, you know, it's impossible for, for the Scarlet Witch, Wanda, to take over being those kids' moms because they're frightened, they're terrified of her. Also, I gotta say, those kids did an amazing job at acting. And it was just like, yo, this is so cool. And I think it was just like such a super cool, such a super interesting way of kind of concluding that. America Chavez really saw what Wanda's weakness was, and she exploited it, which, you know, when it's kind of already shown, it's pretty evident from the beginning of the movie. Even if you've seen the end credit scene of WandaVision, it's pretty evident that Wanda's weakness is this wanting to be with her kids. And you don't really think that a hero is going to exploit her weakness. But what else do you do with someone who's all-powerful and could literally destroy the multiverse because of her egotistic jealousy? Or, I would say jealousy of her other variants. Like, what else are you going to do, right? And she goes there. She does that. She exposes the kids to kind of the monster that the Scarlet Witch has become. And it was just such a such a powerful scene, I would say.
It's very heartbreaking, yes.
Yeah. And I think it was just incredibly done. And then, you know, after that whole thing, I don't know, do you want to comment on any of this? I've been talking for a while.
I mean, dude, you're on a roll. Keep it going.
Okay.
You're on a roll. Oh, also, Adam, if you're listening, this is for you. He wanted to know, like, if she's dead.
Yeah.
So, keep it going.
Yeah, so then after Scarlet Witch has this redemption moment, she's kind of pulled back into the dimension. And you're kind of wondering, I was kind of wondering, like, is America just going to leave her there to suffer with all that? Is she going to leave her in front of those kids and, like, Wanda to, like, forever to
That would be the biggest bra moment
I
ever.
would be like, yo, what?
Crazy.
But she didn't. She brought her back. The camera work that they did on that was super cool because, like, you see her inside the portal at the one point, but then when the portal closes, first you see America and then you see Scarlet Witch again.
Yeah,
like,
it's really cool.
Yeah. And what happens next is Scarlet Witch looks at Strange and is like, I gotta take down this Darkhold. Like, it's too powerful for anything, and it's gotta be me that destroys it. And she does just that. She destroys the whole thing as kind of her character redemption. Everyone else evacuates. America picks up Christine and Strange and the other dimension that they're in. And there's this clip where, you know, the whole building's falling down. You think Wanda's screwed. Then you see this red glow. And then the building continues to fall down.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty convinced, and I'm sure, I think most of the internet is too, that Wanda is not dead. I think even Elizabeth Olsen and Kevin Feige would agree. I mean, it's really hard because, like, they don't want to spoil the movie.
I don't think she can die.
I don't think she can die, even, like, just yet in general.
Yeah.
There's a lot more that they can do with the character.
Also, Kevin Feige said that she's going to be in other projects.
Yeah.
So.
And especially, and, you know, he could just be saying that because, you know, they don't want to...
Money.
Yeah.
As you know, Kevin Feige's never really been a guy to, like, just say something because of money. He's actually, like, a huge nerd like we
passionate.
are. Yeah. I love that when people are, like, passionate about, like, especially stuff like this. I think it just works.
Yeah.
Right?
And, you know, I think he could be saying it because he doesn't want to spoil the movie, because obviously you're going to say, oh, look out for this person in future projects. But if you kill him off and you don't want to spoil that, you're still going to act like, oh, this person has a bright future ahead.
Right.
But I genuinely do think that she does have a bright future ahead. I think even Elizabeth Olsen has said that there's a lot of different ways they can take the character after the movie. And something that happens in the comics is the Scarlet Witch goes into exile after a lot of these big events. She kind of self-exiles. And we all kind of thought that's what was happening in WandaVision. But she really wasn't exiling. She was plotting. She was evil now. And that's kind of what the whole face flickering thing in that scene was really about. I think now she's genuinely going to that place. And I think White Vision is going to come in at some point.
Yeah, they did tease him in an interview because I think we believe it was Paul Bettany just kind of like leaked himself. He's like, I can't remember who it was. They asked him, "Hey, is you gonna play White Vision?" He's like, "I think. Wait, am I? I think I am. Am I?" So he did one of those. But he's obviously gonna, do it.
Yeah. Yeah, I would not be surprised in the slightest if that happens. And yeah, I think the movie ended on a pretty strong note with that redemption scene. And then you kind of see America training. Oh, and this got me a little choked up. You see America training, and she's kind of making some of the same mistakes that Strange made, and he's like correcting her to Wong and everything, and it's just so cute. And
It's a full circle moment.
And she kind of comes up to him before he steps in a portal away from Kamar-Taj when they're trying to rebuild it. Also, that was one of the coolest moments of the movie when Scarlet Witch just completely obliterated Kamar-Taj.
Rip to all the sorcerers, man.
Yeah, honestly. So we kind of come to this scene, and you really kind of see that she's looking at Strange as more of a parental figure at this point.
Yeah.
That's the vibe I got.
These are parents. She may have killed her parents, but we don't know.
We don't know.
It's in the comics she did, like pretty brutally. I can't remember how it was, but it was like blood everywhere.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, and it's just so heartwarming. My theory is none of that would have been possible without No Way Home.
No Way Home. Hot take. I love Avengers Endgame and I love Infinity War. But I think No Way Home is the most important movie of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
I would agree.
It ties everything up after Endgame. And it starts the multiverse and shows that Spider-Man's the best part of this whole freaking thing.
Yeah, and we got Andrew back.
Love you, Andrew.
I think like if it weren't for No Way Home, and a lot of people thought, based off of how they kind of did the whole first trailer, that Doctor Strange was going to be the bad guy in this, that he somehow messed up, the effects of No Way Home were going to lead into this movie and directly impact it. They did not.
No.
That was the events of Loki only.
Freaking Loki, man. Sylvie, man. Freaking Sylvie.
Lost. But they fixed everything.
Dang, man.
They fixed everything in that movie. And it's just like, you were completely misguided, which was actually really cool. Because they didn't like add in any other words or anything or dialogue to mislead you. It was just everyone was so quick to jump onto that assumption based off of fan theories.
Yeah.
And we kind of played ourselves as a fan community. Yeah, so I think like if it weren't for the development he had with Peter Parker though, because at the beginning of the movie, he's willing to kind of see Peter Parker as an equal because, after all, they fought Thanos together and everything.
Yeah.
They kind of had a bit of a history.
Plus, Peter pretty much sacrificed himself for like the whole entire universe.
Yeah, that's pretty much what he kind of did. Even with the ending of No Way Home,
because Peter knew he messed up and he had to fix it somehow.
And Doctor Strange, even though he didn't remember Peter, that doesn't mean his development as a character goes away. He learned to kind of be more tolerant of the younger folks, and he's like, I'll miss you, kid, and everything. And he got really emotional when Peter Parker was willing to make that sacrifice. I don't think it really kind of did something to his ego, where he kind of acknowledged that he was not always right, especially when it kind of came to the ending where he wanted to just send all the bad guys home, but then he saw Peter's plan was working. He realized he wasn't the one holding if he was the one holding the knife, these people would have died.
Absolutely.
And he kind of changes his tune to be more accepting of the fact that he might not be right all the time, which he drops his pride. Beautiful scene. And he said he painfully says goodbye to Peter Parker. And this ending scene with America Chavez kind of echoes it because he dropped his pride. He decided he was not going to be the one who's in the right. Even when Wong was telling him, like, yeah, dude, take your powers. It's the only way. Even when he's like, yeah, it's the only way. Yeah. And then he kind of switches tune and tells America she has the power. I think that was based off of the development that happened in No Way Home. And when he says, see you later, kid, I was just like, oh, Peter,
bring him back.
Yeah.
I think there's somehow going to be a way where Strange is able to restore his memory of Peter
I hope
Parker.
so. I hope so.
Yeah. Anyway, that's just my little.
And that is, we just pretty much did a summary of the whole entire movie.
Yeah.
Good for
much.
us.
Good for us. Yeah.
Before we get to the post-credit scenes, let's talk about probably my favorite part about this movie,
Okay.
and that is the visual effects.
Yeah.
So you thought the visual effects for the first Doctor Strange were incredible, and Ant-Man, that one scene in the quantum realm, and Endgame. No, this movie has. How come my mic is weird? This movie has the best visual effects in any MCU movie. Especially that one sequence where we're going through all the multiverses, and it's like there's paint.
That was so cool.
And then there's like a cartoon one. That was my favorite. That was my favorite one. I want to see a whole movie of that. It's like a Spider-Verse movie, but with Doctor Strange. That would be dope. And I just think that, no, it's the best. That's all I'd say. Sorry, I'm really nerding about visual effects because I watch a lot of visual effects stuff. Online stuff.
Yeah. I really enjoyed that. One of the gripes I had with No Way Home, I don't actually think I said this in the review, but I think it's something that I kind of thought up after, was I don't think it should have been nominated for a visual effects Oscar.
Yeah.
Because when they released the movie, it was unfinished. If you went to see the movie when it first released compared to at the end of its release in theaters, so many of the visual effects were more fine-tuned.
For the DVD.
They took, not even just for the one in theaters, they replaced certain scenes.
Did
and
they?
reissued. Like
yeah.
that one scene when Andrew jumps out of the portal, they replaced that scene.
Oh, and then they also touched up that scene when he catches MJ.
Yeah.
Because it feels really bouncy. Oh, yeah.
They
That's
they
right.
did a lot more fine tuning on Doc Ock and the Iron Spider suit and all this stuff. I think when you release a movie, it should be done when it's done. Like, you should not be. I don't want to see what's not going to be the whole finished project. I want to see what the finished project is. And I think them just continuing to work on it throughout the movie's release was they should have just pushed it an extra month. I would have been okay with that.
Yeah, I understand a time crunch, but
Release a full movie.
like when Spider-Verse, the next one was pushed back, 6 months?
Yeah.
And I was like, awesome. That means they're doing a great job. They want this movie to be finished. Especially an anime movie, it's hard to release a half movie.
Yeah.
But I think I would have been okay with No Way Home coming out 2 months later.
I would have been okay with that too. And you see this all the time in video games where developers will release a game
And patch it.
and they justify it with patches. Whereas,
Looking at Battlefront 2.
exactly. Looking at games that we got 10 years ago, they had to be, or even 15 years ago, they had to be finished.
They're still patching GTA 5.
Yeah, what the heck? Games had to be finished before the whole internet update thing came out, because you could not touch it up. If there's a big error, it's out there forever.
Yeah.
Unless you were to release a whole other copy, like what I think happened with a couple of versions of Mario 64.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Doctor Strange. This movie, the visual effects are actually stunning, and I would be really sad if it doesn't get nominated for an Oscar.
I just don't want to imagine a world where this doesn't get nominated for an Oscar over No Way Home.
Exactly.
Like we're not saying No Way Home has bad visual effects, but come on, really?
Yeah. Exactly. I was blown away by a lot of this. And, there's kind of a standard for all the Doctor Strange scenes at this point, I think, where he has to have super trippy visuals at some point whenever he's there.
Mission accomplished.
And this movie knocked it out of the park. Sam Raimi, even with certain ways that they did the effects with how he used the camera, was just remarkable. That scene where Strange is coming out of the dream at the beginning of the movie.
Oh, yes.
And the camera kind of twists and turns, and it's kind of a mix of the whole CGI dimension thing, but also just practical camera effects, was so beautiful.
Yes.
So well shot. And there's a lot of other scenes like that where it's shot on an angle, and then this big thing will kind of bring a different perspective, this big multiversal thing will bring a different perspective to what you're seeing.
and he just knows how to work the camera with CGI so well.
Yeah. Oh, let me talk about one more thing. Oh,
Okay.
wait. What was I going to talk about? Dude, I just totally blanked.
I have a complaint.
Oh, no. Okay. After this.
Yeah, sure.
So like a very simple thing in the movie is there's lots of reveals, and they do what is called a dolly zoom. Now that is zooming in while you're pulling the camera back, so the lens focuses on the person. It kind of gives like distorted background feel. That's what I'm saying. It's really cool.
Yeah.
They do it that in a lot of. They did that first time in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 when, spoiler alert, Ego kills Peter Quill's mom. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's just cool. I like that
It's
effect.
such a cool scene.
Yeah, I like that effect.
Yeah.
Okay, your complaint, hit it.
So
Man, this is a long episode. Where are we at?
yeah,
Holy.
you know what? It deserves to be this.
It
long.
deserves. It's a good movie.
So this movie, one thing I did not like was the MCU, or this movie classifies the mainline MCU universe as being Earth 616.
Oh yes, let's talk about
So
that. Let's talk about that.
In the comics, the mainline universe where all the important stuff happens, that's not like a side project or like the Ultimate Universe or anything like that. All the important stuff happens in Earth 616.
Correct.
And in the Earth 616 comics, the MCU is mentioned as a multiverse that has been peeked into from time to time. And they classify the MCU as being Earth 199999. So why the frick would the MCU officially make it canon? And I was actually a little nervous about this when Far From Home came out, because Mysterio says that, this is Earth 616. And right away I was like, oh, Mysterio's lying, because this can't be Earth 616 because that's the comics. But then this movie comes and makes it canon. And why?
I mean, okay, hey, to be fair, this is really nitpicky.
It's very
very
nitpicky.
nitpicky.
It's a very nerdy complaint.
We nitpick because we care.
Exactly.
Because we're not your typical nerd. We care about our timelines.
Exactly. And I get it. You can't have the MCU crossing over to Earth 616 in the comics because, whoever you get to voice those characters or play those characters are going to be the definitive version of that. And that means you have to have someone who can live forever, because 616 just never dies.
I mean, you can it's good that they're making it clear, just for timeline reasons, just because there is a multiverse now, and that makes things really clear. But I don't know.
It messes things up for different events in the comics that have already taken place.
Yeah. And
again, it was just like, well, our universe classifies yours as being 616. That universe can have it wrong. That's fine. That would be an easy out. But I really hope they change that. Again, it's very nitpicky. Doesn't really matter that much. But if they're going to go into all these other multiversal things, I kind of want that changed. I get it. Like, the MCU is kind of the main line. Like, if you think of a Marvel movie, you're going to think of the MCU, and that's kind of why, that's the definitive Marvel movie sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, that's something I'll change.
Man, we've been talking for a long time about a single movie that we saw 3 days ago.
Yeah.
But nay, nothing new for us. Really nothing new. Okay, Ashton, let's talk about a couple more things, and then I think we should wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's talk about the 2 post-credit scenes, not the 3.
Not the 3.
So we were told when we watched. I'm so mad. I knew he was wrong.
I knew he was wrong too.
So we're nerds. We before an MCU movie, I was researched if there's a post-credit scene and how many.
Yeah.
That morning, I researched it, and it said 2.
Yeah.
We walk into the theater, and the guy at taking our tickets said there were 3. He was probably told there was 3. So
no, I genuinely think he was trolling, actually.
Yeah.
Because he told us multiple times after he'd already seen us. He told us right as we walked in to scan our tickets, and then he told us and the people behind us as we were walking into the theater. Of the IMAX theater, he was greeting people there.
Why you gotta do that, bro?
Why you gotta do that? Why you gotta do us dirty?
Yeah.
Come on, bro. Come on.
Well, I'm whacking here. Okay, anyways. So 2 post-credit scenes. Let's talk about the first one. Okay. So Doctor Strange, he's just walking through New York, coming out of the Sanctum Sanctorium. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to make clear. And he's like, he feels a headache. He has a headache.
Well, was this an end credit, or was this just at the end of the movie, like a last scene before the credits rolls?
Oh yeah, no, you're right.
Because there were only 2.
Okay, screw it. Well, okay, never mind. That doesn't matter.
This is the very end of the movie.
Sorry, I got them mixed up. Hey, maybe there is 3. I don't know. I don't
Maybe
know.
there was going to be 3.
Yeah, maybe. Oh yeah, so he just. I might as well just explain it. He has a headache, and a third eye pops up, and that is significant because the evil Doctor Strange, in the whole during the music note battle, Doctor Strange, he has a third eye, and the third eye is significant because I'm going to read this off this nerd site.
Cool.
Stranger's third eye is a manifestation of the Eye of Agamotto. And why is that important? Because that's where the time stone was kept, in the Eye of Agamotto. And
He uses that in this movie too.
He does. He
Not
does.
the time stone, but the
Eye of Agamotto. And that's very significant because it gives him special powers. And let's see here. It's a revealer of truth that can reenact recent events and see into the souls of others. In the films, it seems the two strangers get the third eye manifestation from reading the Darkhold. So now he can see into the future. He can see into people's brains. I mean, minds, not brains, minds. And yeah, it's really cool. This is a main part, I believe, in Secret Wars, right?
I think so. Sounds familiar.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the eye is going to be a really big deal in the future.
Yeah.
Because that's going to help him, especially, he's going to be in Secret Wars, I hope. If they don't put him in Secret Wars, I'd be so mad.
There's another reason why this is significant as well from a filmmaker perspective. So this movie, actually wait, before I cut you off, are you done with?
Oh, I'm done. Yeah, I'm done with that post-credits thing. Yeah, go ahead.
So
yours, man.
At the end of every Sam Raimi movie, or a lot of them anyway, he's known for doing a thing with his characters where, you know, they win the day or whatever, and then the last scene, something horrible happens to them.
Yes.
And it just leaves you on that. And that's exactly what they did, or what he did in this movie, where you think everything's hunky-dory with Strange.
Oh, hunky-dory. I like that.
Yeah.
Hunky-dory.
My vocabulary is expanding. And then he falls down in the middle of a crosswalk screaming, and a third eye pops up on his head. Like,
Yeah, it's so cool.
It's so cool, and it's just such a cool nod to, and like he didn't do this in the Sam Raimi Spider-Man, or like in his Spider-Man movies, but he does this in a lot of his
Evil
horror
Dead.
movies. At least from what my understanding is, I haven't seen any of them.
You ever seen Evil Dead?
No, I haven't.
Do you know what? We should watch it,
Shoot.
but not really.
Maybe.
No,
We'll see.
they're pretty hard movies to watch.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, no, they're really hard to watch.
But yeah, I think it was a pretty cool touch. Yeah. Anyway, let's hop into the next one.
The next one. So Doctor Strange again. He's just walking down the street of New York City, and then all of a sudden, a voice is heard, and he turns around, and we see, who is it? Who's the actress? Ashton?
Charlize Theron.
Charlize Theron. So she's been in Atomic Blonde and Fast and Furious.
recently.
Yeah, and what was that one movie? Hancock with Will Smith.
Yeah, that was a good movie actually.
Very underrated movie.
Yeah.
And he turns around. He sees
Also Lost.
Charlize Theron. Yes, thank you, Ashton. And she's dressed, if you know, she's dressed in this very spiky, purplishly pinkish costume. And I knew who it was, but I wanted to research a little bit more because, you know, I want to give you guys the goods.
Yeah.
And this is Clea, or Clea, whatever you want to call her. You know, it doesn't matter. Clea. Clea Strange.
Ooh.
So she is, I believe, let's see, I think she's the wife.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
she gets married to Strange.
Yes,
She's
yes.
the Sorcerer Supreme of the Dark Dimension.
Yes. Now, this opens up a lot of things because in the comics, there is a sorcerer battle. Yeah, like, I believe her and Strange have to go up against someone. I can't remember the name, but like there's this huge sorcerer battle, and if that happens, like I feel really bad for the special effects team because that's gonna be sleepless nights and sleepless days and sleepless weeks. You know, this is awesome. I love them bringing in very obscure characters, and I noticed characters are getting comic accurate costumes now.
Yeah, I'm so happy.
And it's
about
great.
that.
Also, it's not very revealing like the comic one is, but no, it's like
This one's anatomically
yeah.
correct.
unlike Catwoman, Halle Berry.
Oh gosh.
Yes. Clea first appeared in Strange Tales 126, created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko.
Yo.
Yeah, you guys didn't need to know
R.I.P.
that, but I'm just a nerd. All right. And then she brings him into the portal, and she's like, "There's been an anomaly in the multiverse," and she's like, "You need to come with me." And he's like, "Dope." So they hop in a portal, and that's it.
I think she says too, like you caused an your
You caused an
actions
incursion.
caused an incursion,
Yes.
which is like again like an exact setup for Secret Wars.
Yeah. Cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
That's it.
Also, another fun fact about her, she is the niece of Dormammu.
Yes. Very, very important fact.
So,
I should have
like,
probably said that.
I
Dormammu,
I hope we can see Dormammu again because he was very underused. Hot take.
He's
in
a
the first movie.
huge character. In the
He's
comics.
like he could be the next big Marvel bad.
I can't believe they put Dormammu in a movie. I
Yeah.
really didn't think that was going to happen.
I didn't think that was gonna happen.
You know,
And
Thanos? Screw Thanos. This guy's like just, a million Thanos.
Dormammu could
Thanoses.
kill him, and the fact that Strange was able to defeat him in a way was just like. But again, Strange had to use an Infinity
Yeah.
Stone. They don't really have those anymore.
Nah, not
So
really.
that kinda sucks.
Not really. And the last post-credit scene. So in the movie, Doctor Strange and America Chavez are walking through, Earth. What 111? I don't remember what Earth it is, but there's a pizza. There's pizza balls. Pizza balls. You know what they are, and the guy there standing them is Bruce Campbell. And if you don't know who Bruce Campbell is, he plays Ash in the Evil Dead movies and Ash versus, I can't remember, as Ash versus the Evil Dead TV show. And, he's a very good actor. He's been in he's been in almost all Sam Raimi movies.
I think so.
He's been in all 3 Spider-Man movies that Sam Raimi directed. And in the movie, Doctor Strange puts a spell on him that keeps him slapping himself because he was very just not nice to America. Chavez, not just America in general. And so he puts a spell on him, like he slaps him for 3 weeks, and he is just slapping himself, and he stops. He's like, "It's over! It's finally over!" And then it comes to black.
He looks directly at the camera when he says that.
Yeah,
so.
I've never felt so disappointed in an end credit scene since the Spider-Man Homecoming.
Yeah, same.
So, what did you learn today? Patience.
So actually something that I found interesting about this one though was it was definitely a fourth wall break.
Oh, and I love it. It's fun.
Which, one of the big speculations, and I think it was one of my predictions too, was that Ryan Reynolds was going to be in this movie. He was not. Which, you know what? I think the movie was better for it.
If he was in it, I think that would have took away from it.
I think it would have taken away from it.
Bring him back in the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah, and he's someone that Wanda can't
Spider-Pool.
really kill. So it didn't make sense for him to be in this movie.
He was probably in it somewhere. Like in the background somewhere, like as they're flying through the different multiverses.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of like, fourth wall breaking can happen in the MCU. That's a thing. And, we thought Thor was doing it in Ragnarok with the narration, but that wasn't the case. And it's like, and we did get it a bit with What If, because the Watcher kind of speaks directly to the audience, but still, that's animated, even though it's MCU.
It doesn't count.
Doesn't really count as much. But this is the first live action fourth wall break in the MCU, so that's kind of significant.
Yes.
But also very disappointing that we didn't get any big thing after that was going to set up another movie.
Yeah. Anything else? Actually, I have one more question, then we should wrap it up.
Okay.
Because this is officially our longest episode of the podcast.
Ooh, fancy.
Yes.
I think I know what the question is.
Do you?
Yeah.
So, you know how in Titanic? No, I'm kidding. Where does this rank for you? Was that what you were thinking?
That's what I was thinking.
No, dude, this guy brought up the list.
So I actually haven't put it in the list yet, but I've been thinking a lot about it, and I
Okay.
think I know where I'm going to put it.
Okay, wait, I gotta look at my list here. Okay, where are you putting it?
So
There's some of the movies you're putting in between, and the numbers it would be.
So I am going to put it in between Civil War and Ragnarok.
Civil War and Ragnarok.
So Civil War currently ranks as my 6th,
Okay.
and Ragnarok is my 7th. So this will be my 7th favorite.
Awesome.
So the reason I did this
7?
quickly-
So it would be number 7.
It will be number 7. I'll put it in right now.
So unfortunately, I don't have my list on me because it was a paper copy. So it's above Eternals
That's fair.
and above Black Panther and above. I would say this is top 10 for sure. I love this movie so much.
Yeah.
I've always been a big Doctor Strange fan, and after him being a Spider-Man, my favorite superhero, it kind of like reinvigorated my love for him, and I think Benedict Cumberbatch does a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the movies are just fun, and that's what I want in a movie, to be fun, especially a comic book movie. I just want some comic book fun. I don't want I do want a Tony Stark alcohol one, but
Yeah, make it happen. Tom
that'll
Cruise.
get really, really dark really quickly.
Yeah, for
He's
sure.
the first alcohol comic he's in, like when it's a big problem, he kind of does a really bad thing, and I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. We'll keep it
If you know,
PG.
you know. Yeah, PG on this pod. Yeah, anything else? This is a really long episode, but I love talking about it.
I love talking about it too.
Guys, I feel like we just rambled, but that's okay.
It's good. This is what the podcast is for.
Yes, this is what this is for. This is the way.
I would say that the reason I placed it where I placed it was because I really love a darker movie that I can still
Yes.
see as fun. I loved it better in terms of content more than Thor Ragnarok, I think. Even though Thor Ragnarok was much funnier. It just kind of felt like a cornball comedy movie.
Yeah, I would say this. Yeah, this would be above Ragnarok for me,
And then
wherever that sits.
Yeah, for sure. And I put it underneath Civil War because the hype I felt for Civil War was almost on an equal level to Endgame, just because of because of Spider-Man being in the MCU.
Yeah.
That was probably the biggest reason. And you know what? 6-year-old Ashton, or 6 years previous Ashton, you can have this one. This movie does not quite top it yet.
Yeah. I mean, dude, growing up, who thought the comics that we read would come to life and look
Yeah,
like this?
honestly.
It's still incredible to me.
Yeah, it's wild.
Also, I love the Carrie reference. Did you see the Carrie reference? The Carrie 1976 reference?
Yeah.
Which has the blood on her face and she's just walking. It's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
I
love it.
I love it.
when movies reference other movies.
Yeah.
That's why if I ever made a movie, you bet your butt there will be movie references everywhere.
Yeah.
Like someone would say, "May the force be with you," even though it does
100%.
not work. I like squeeze it in.
I would mix in like a May the 4th joke.
the 4th
like
be with
May
you.
4th, and then someone says something Star Warsy on May 4th or something. I don't know. I would do something like that.
Midichlorians must be high. All right. That it?
I think
we're
that's
good.
it. We should probably cut it here.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening. If you listened all the way, like and subscribe if you're on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify. We also follow us on Instagram at Nerds and Flannel Podcast. Man, I forgot how long that is. If you have any suggestions, email us at nerdsandflannelpodcast@gmail.com. And yeah, you can find me at VanCityNat57 on Instagram. And Ashton, you can plug yourself if you want.
Yeah. My account is Ashkins_holder.
Yeah, so yeah. Guys, thank you. We are Nerds. And until next time, I'm Nat.
And I'm Ashton.
And we are the Nerds in Flannel.
Peace.